the first thing I want to do is we'll watch the trailer a little bit. We'll kind of like react and talk a little bit about it because I feel like if you are someone who doesn't pay too much attention to the lore or you haven't been around for a while, some of the importance of what's in the trailer gets a little lost. I guess that's really any trailer, but like this one's very, very particular in that manner that I feel like a lot gets lost. I also like how my main interests are right here: World of Warcraft and Lady Gaga's The Dead Dance. I love that for me. Um, so yeah, let's give a look at it. It started before it maximized. There we go. And then I also don't have my desktop sound on yet. So if this is too loud for you, let me know. But yeah, let's play it a little bit and let's talk about it.
The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light.
So, above my head, if you look, coming into focus, is the leader of the Blood Elves. That is, Lorthamar Theron, and then this right here is, Lady Liadrin. I don't think we have. Do we have no, we don't have any other name for her. But yes, that is Lady Liadrin. She is the founder of the First Order, first Blood Elf Paladin. She's like the right hand of our regent, so on and so forth.
Liadrin, it has begun. I need you with me on the wall.
Right now, what they're in front of, and you'll see it come up again, is the Sunwell. That is what she's being illuminated by. Now, the Sunwell is effectively a pool of potent power made up of the light. It is a very controversial item that has gone through some motions and at one point in time had a consciousness in a way. Anyways, so effectively he's telling her like, time for prayers over. Let's go fight.
Lorthamar, the void will envelop us soon. Only the light can save us now.
No. The time for prayer has passed.
And there he like directly says it. She's like, listen, the void is here. The opposing power of the void is the light. Let's do the damn thing. And he's like, well, actually, we need to do this other damn thing. You know, what you've trained for to fight. They're here right now. Prayer takes time. And they got time.
The Sunwell will not fall. Not while I draw breath.
Damn right. This part in particular, where they're fighting like back to back, as you'll notice, like they've been around each other a really long time. Like they're old. Not in terms of like elf. Maybe Lorthamar is, but like they've been around for a long enough time that they have effectively become like a dueling pair. He knows her motions, she knows his. And they're so, like, if I take this back a moment, they're so fluid in how they fight together if we watch that again. Like, look at that.
Little elves.
And it's, shit.
The light guides.
Liadrin,
Sorry.
it has begun. I need you with me.
Here we go.
Little elves.
So this is going to be our first, like, visual of Xal'atath in here, right? We know Xal'atath, for those who have been playing. But for those who haven't been playing the game, back in the expansion of Legion, we priests came across a dagger, which was called Zelatath, and it was said that she was the the sacrificial ritual blade of the. I also forget words a lot, so this is going to be a problem. But she's the sacrificial blade of the old gods. She's been around for a really, really long time. She corrupts the minds of those that she comes in contact with. Long story short, she, like, using her powers and along with everybody else who's got really cool weapons and stuff, we take down an old god. And in the midst of that, she gets freed from the blade, and Zalatath takes on the body of a elf, an elf. So her elven body that she has is an elf called. Hold on. It's coming up. My computer just doesn't want to cooperate right now. Called Ananis. And so Ananis is a high elf found in Falcon's Rest in Drustvar, leads a group of novice deep watchers in a ritual to harness the powers of the Void Stone. So she's kind of already in touch with the Void to a degree, right? She ends up being killed by us at the behest of Zalatath. And then she coaxes us into releasing the Voidstone's power, giving Zalatath the strength to escape the blade, and then she possesses Ananis's dead body, corrupting her in the process. Her final words suggest she accepted becoming a vessel of Zalatath as her true purpose. So that's cool. But yes, so she is effectively inhabiting a corpse. Kinda. In the most recent expansion, the one we're in right now, The War Within, Zalatath is the like she's pretty much the chess player. She's been moving all of these pieces into play for a millennia, and we have either fallen pawn to it or mixed up her whatevers. But now she's no longer our friend. That's a whole thing. And here she is.
I can see you grow weary. How much longer can you hold out?
So these two have fought back to back in so many wars. Like the Third War, the Second War, before the initial war, in the Third War, we had the problem with the Scourge. I don't think they're tired. This is just her getting in their heads. Because it's what she's good at. Zalatath is like the master manipulatress. Masteress manipulator? Yeah, we'll go with that.
Flee and save yourselves.
Liadrin, don't.
So she's effectively telling them, I'm gonna kill you. Go while you can. She's yet again allowing survivors, to the surprise of nobody.
Light be with you.
And Liadrin trusts the light still.
She understands it's hopeless.
And for those of you who played Legion, you'll notice her belt is the original appearance of the Zalatath weapon.
Soon, you all will.
There's the Sunwell.
Steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through. I know that I am unworthy.
So this is a point of contention that a lot of people like to bring up. Aside from Liadrin's face, which if you have a problem with a strong dad character, stuff it. If you want to say that the elves have lost their elven look, a little different because they do look a bit different from before. But the thing is, nobody looks the same. Not every elf is going to look the same. And you know what? If you were expecting to, I don't know, get a body pillow of Liadrin to sleep with, and suddenly she's not your type, oh darn, sucks to suck. Move on. There's so many people who have the same face shape as her, and it is actually a sought after shape. People want that face. So it's kind of funny when people are like, rah, 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 too masculine, rah, 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 rah. If you have a binary thought of gender, you're going to get disappointed at quite a few turns of life. So anyways, Liadrin saying right here, I know that I am unworthy. She has been carrying guilt for a long fucking time. A long time. She has the guilt from the day the scourge hit. She feels like she's failed to protect everyone. She wasn't able to protect her mentor. She allowed fear to control her at one point in time. She's guilty for being alive when so many others around her died. She was the Sunwell was lost at one point in time. And this caused all of the elves to have a hunger for arcane. She lived in an abandoned manor in Ghostlands. She lived as a warrior. She was just fucking up all of the scourge that came across her. But then we end up finding the Blood Elves have captured a Naru, which is being made of pure light. And Ralmath introduced Liadrin to Muuru, the Naru. And him and Astalar assisted in forging a link with Muuru. When Liadrin channeled the light, there wasn't warmth or love, but it was power. May not have been at a moral cost, but it was definitely physically challenging. She accepted the proposal. She ended up becoming infused with Muuru's power and became the first of the Blood Knights, aka Paladin. But she's since realized, she's gone through a lot since then, but she has since realized that doing what she did with Muuru, she doesn't feel worthy of having the light because she effectively forced it upon herself. Mind you, she has trained others in tapping into the light. She kept Muuru subdued in the Blood Knight headquarters, allowing others to then force the light upon themselves. We then have Kalthos dying. Muuru ended up being corrupted. And then, because of everything happening, Burning Legion, so on and so forth, she feels really, really guilty. But then Velen gives them a new future. Velen is the leader of the Draenei. He acquires the heart of Muuru, channeled it into the Sunwell, restoring the Sunwell, and mentioned that it should be like kind of the start of a rebirth for the nation. So Liadrin was there, saw the rebirth of the Sunwell, which is the Sunwell she is currently kneeling in front of. and effectively vowed to have a positive relationship with the light. Now they have a new source of like power for the blood elves and so on and so forth. So her saying that she's unworthy is she feels unworthy, and I don't think she ever, even after this, I doubt we'd ever see her say she's worthy. Um, me putting my thinking cap on. Hell yeah! Hi Simmer, welcome on in. But I don't ever think she's going to consider herself worthy, even with what we're about to see happen. Hi Good. Love you, child, and I are lurking. Hi, babes. Thank you so much for continuing your sub for 42 months. So yeah, I'm going on a info dive with everybody. We're watching the trailer. We're almost halfway through. But we're talking about Liadrin and why she's not worthy. But I don't think she'll ever consider herself worthy because of everything that she's done, allowed to happen, even though Velen effectively said, like, hit the restart button, babes. It's only up from here. Needing coffee? I feel that. I actually have coffee in front of me. So sippy your coffee with me. So for those of you just joining in, I'm going to be pausing and kind of discussing little lore tidbits as we go along to give a little background to what's happening. And I already have, so. Oh, and when she's like pauses and she's like, she kneels down, she's effectively decided, you know what, prayer isn't going to work. I need to do something different because this is dire.
I don't know if I deserve your help.
Again, she's having a problem with feeling like she's worthy, which is never going to ever get fixed, I don't think, unless blood elves have at minimum 1,000 years of therapy. And I don't think there's enough gold on Azeroth to fund that.
But I know my people do.
And that's where there's a really interesting stark comparison. So there are people who are alive who also did the things Liadrin's done, like any of the paladins who forced the light upon themselves before the Sunwovers was restored. So for her to say she's unworthy, but her people are worthy of being saved, is a contradiction in a way, because if she isn't worthy, neither are her people. She's putting the weight of an entire nation's mistakes on her shoulders, which, baby girl, no.
Please give them strength.
I admire your spirit.
That flick pan that they just did there, I don't even know what it's called. But that's so cool. I love this technique right here. I want to see it again. So, note where, like, how we are centered on Lorthamar, and then watch the flick over to Xalatath like it is. Right here.
I admire your spirit.
Like, we stay level, but we re-get the focus to her.
I will break your world.
I mean, I have a question at this point, right? Actually, no, I'll save that question. But that flick pan and then the refocus to her, oh god, it's such a good, yeah.
You can't even break one elf.
That is a really interesting statement. You can't even break one elf. He's not, I don't think he's talking about him. We just spent the entirety of the war within with Xalatath chasing Illyria to try to corrupt her, or at least push her to the void and push her over the edge. So I think he's talking about Illyria. She hasn't been able to break one elf. And they know of Illyria because she is the would-be Ranger General, even though she didn't take the title. So, like, she's well known.
One elf.
And that pisses Xalatath off. I'd like to note she did this with the flick of her eyes. She just took down anybody in her vicinity by blinking. Not even. She didn't even blink. She just looked to the side. Does that give you an idea of how much power she's accumulated? Now, mind you, for those of you who might remember Burning Crusade, Dimensius, the All-Devouring, the Void Lord, is currently within her Dark Heart. She also happens to have the power of Galakron, possibly, still within the Dark Heart. We don't know if it still exists because Illyria cracked the Dark Heart. We don't know what escaped the Dark Heart, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go with the fact that it's still there because Galakron had an insatiable hunger, which was created by rot. We have since learned that rot is a product of void corruption. I can explain that if anybody wants to know where that comes from. So we have Galakron's insatiable hunger, and I mean insatiable. He ate anything and everything in his path, including other dragons. And now she has the power of the All-Devouring Void Lord around her neck. Coincidence? I don't think so. Don't think so. Nope, nope.
Darkness comes to devour everything.
And there's Devour again, would like to note.
And when it is finished, there will be no more light. Without your aid, we will perish.
Can we talk about these Void Wraiths for a second? I know we've been seeing them a lot, but like, look at how cool. They're even like armored up to their hands. Like, do you see? That's just so cool. And they don't just taper down into like a V down here anymore. It's like they are a floating void. Oh, it's just so cool.
I beg you, help us.
So the Sunwell didn't react until she said us, right? It's been very, I'm unworthy, they're deserving this whole time. But she finally mentions an us, and the Sunwell is like, okay, babe, got you. It's been asked who that hand is. There's a couple implications there. I'm going to play a little bit more before I explain that part. Okay, so now we see that there is an army behind her. So we know that they've come through the Sunwell. It has been asked and it has been explained that this is the army of the light, amongst others, with one specific creature not understanding how it got there. That part I'm interested in. We haven't really figured that out. I find it interesting that the Army of the Light is comprised of a lot of Draenei too, but we don't see their silhouettes, but we see the weapon. Oh, it's behind my head. Right here. This is one of their, like, standard hammers that you will see, and there's another one over here too. But the other implication of the hand on the shoulder is that it is us as the hero, as the player character, coming through to help, and we actually do start our journey that way in Midnight. Look at that fire, though. Ugh.
The Sunwell will not fall.
Not while we draw breath.
Okay, here's our parallels again. So she said before, not while I draw breath, not while I'm around, not while I'm around. Now we're back to we, right? We're back to a united front. You can tell they started to kind of like separate based on their visions and their ideals, because he's a warrior Oh my god, I tapped it. Oh my god, thank you. No, I tapped my mute button. Good call. Good call. No, don't be sorry. I appreciate it. So, like, right here, right? Remember that Xalatath collapsed him with the flick of an eye? Oop, nope, come back. That shine of purple, he broke out of the hold of the void on his own. Just to give you an idea, Lorthamar is not some little punk bitch. Lorthamar can stand on his own. He snapped out of it when he saw hope. And then, I mean, look at how beautiful that fire is.
The Sunwell will not fall.
Not while we draw breath.
Notice Xalatath's face here. Aside from the fact that we finally get to see her looking like a corpse. Most of the time we've seen her, she's been like shrouded in like purples and whatnot. This is the first time we can actually see like the elvish tone. And this is the skin of a high elf. So if you look at her face, does she look worried? I mean, there's suddenly a whole new army charging into her face, and she just looking at them like, okay. This doesn't surprise her. Also, this whole 4 minutes she's been monologuing. What does a villain do when they're monologuing? What's their purpose, typically? The typical purpose for a villain to monologue is because either A, it's a distraction, or B, we're at the final crux and they think they've won. She knows she hasn't won because she didn't make a move to go forward. Everybody was still fighting right in front of her. Nobody went after Liadrin into the Sunwell. She wasn't having her forces, like, push back the elves so she can go get what she wants. She is very showy. I have a feeling she would very much want everyone to see when she wins. And she would have made a show of doing that. She's not doing that here. She flicked her... She hasn't even touched anyone. There's been no devour. She just, what, mind spiked them? Psychic scream? I don't know. But she didn't do shit. I think she wanted this to happen. And remember, she's a master manipulator. If, in my head, what is the best way to keep track of your enemy? It's if they're all in one place. The army of the light would definitely be against the void. So why not make sure they're here, where she can keep an eye on them? Look at her face. That is a determined face. That is a, you fell into my trap. You stupid elves face. That is not the face of somebody who's going, oh shit, they just doubled in size. She doesn't care. Is that the face of a woman who cares? No, sure ain't. I feel like we just played into her hand again. And you'll notice, I don't know if you saw that, if you watch where Xalatath is, she's right there, and now she's not. So yeah, I'm of the, like, look at her face. There's not even so much as a frown. Like, that is the face of a determined woman. The only other thing I can think of, if she didn't expect this is her going, okay, you got me. Like, you called my bluff. Or, good job, little elves. You surprised me. That's it. That's all she's got. There's no, like, how dare you? There's no, oh, darn it, I've lost. We've either made the fight more interesting for her, or we fell right into her hands. I don't think there's an in-between here. Not at all. Nope, nope. Nope, I do think we done goofed. Kind of. There's really no way that, like, alternatively that could have gone, obviously. Like, we don't want the Sunwell to fall into her hands. That's a huge font of power. Like, bad idea. But also, you know? So yeah, I'm quite sure we fell into her hands. Also, the title of the trailer, right? Intercession. The action of intervening on behalf of another. So this is very much the Sunwell intervening on behalf of Liadrin. In case we were wondering the meaning of that title there. So yeah, it says, as midnight draws near, Xal'atath's ravenous hunger, devouring, void armies descend upon Silvermoon, threatening to envelop all of Azeroth in eternal darkness. Take up arms and stand against the devouring host. Who's the devouring host? Who's that? I don't think I've actually heard anybody mention that, which is interesting enough. Yeah. I don't know if she's taken on a new title. She's transforming into something different. But, like, the devouring host is not any one or any